Good evening, good evening. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Live with Fefe and Freddy, season 13, episode 25. Felicia has muted herself because children are having a fit. That's always super fun. It's also why I have like a separate area so that I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about the dogs. I don't have to worry about anybody having a fit. I don't
I didn't move out of the
like,
house. I don't have
um, so that's that's oh, and she's stuttering. That's awesome. Tonight we have special guest, gay America Esquire, Kristofer Inez Oynx in the house with us this evening. We're super excited. Talking about all sorts of shit. We're just gonna kind of roll with it. We're gonna see how things go because you know that's
Such is life.
that's what we do. That's what we do. We're gonna take care of the housekeeping real quick. If y'all want the VIP treatment, you can in fact go over to our Patreon. Let me find the thingy. There's too many things over here. Here we go. Patreon.com/live with Fefe and Freddy. Get behind the scenes stuff, all of our after show chats. If you are a subscriber, and if you are a free member, even you will have gotten a video that shows all of the escapades with the pig house this last week, because that's been a thing. um and if you join the closer look, which is the $5 membership or a higher tier, you have the chance of getting merch. Yay, merch. We love merch. There's like stickers and mugs and t-shirts and tote bags and all sorts of things depending on the tier. And we don't have to send it out, which is even better. Somebody else deals with that. So I don't have to fucking do it. We would like to thank our patrons: Bill, Brandon, Cassandra, Chris and Michelle, D, Drake, Jensen and Michael, Casey, Starr, Carrie and Corey, Joan, Laura, Madam Askew and the Grand Arbiter, Nicole, Patricia Mason, and Shannon. We appreciate y'all so much. And of course, huge shout out to Wigs of a Kind for supporting us this season. Apparently there are wigs out there. We're waiting on them. I am not wearing a Wigs of a Kind wig this evening.
Pretty bold.
This It's not happening. But that's, normally if I am wearing a wig, we all know that it generally is a Wigs of a Kind wig. So if you would like to sponsor us, throw money at us, if you are rich and don't know what to do with your money, send me a message. I can help you with that. We may not be a 501c3, but I guarantee you we count as charity. It's it's a thing. Kristofer, how was your weekend?
My weekend was all right. Went to see some family and had some things, and
I guess your weekend wasn't all that great. I mean, I guess it was, but it also wasn't. I didn't think about that. My bad.
No, you're good. I always enjoy going to Dallas. That's where my family is, and so I'm there several times a year. But definitely with that quick trip, I had to take Spirit Airlines. Ooh,
Oh,
it has been some years since I've been on a Spirit flight, so that was good. It was fun times.
I mean, you made it there and back, so I guess yay!
I did. We haven't heard anything about Spirit planes crashing, so.
God, Spirit Airlines reminds me. So years and years and years ago,
Mhm.
I was living in Sri Lanka and I had to fly to Pakistan for a swim meet. And they decided, shocker, right? I was a fucking athlete. I don't. Um, they the airline that they put us on was Aeroflot, which was the Russian airline. And Spirit reminds me a little bit of this Russian airline. And it was one of those things, like, we got on and like the AC was almost blowing like steam. It was so bizarre. And
Oh,
then we were like up in the air, and like some of the luggage thingies compartments like kept opening and closing. We'd go to like put a seat
oh.
back, and it was a comedy of errors. Like one of the things, the seat back would just go boom, and we try to put it up and it would slam
Right.
us forward.
I will like the plane itself was not, there was no issues. It was definitely a you get what you pay for type situation. Definitely that. What more so was it was the people who were there on the I've never seen during takeoff and landing, the flight attendants have to get on the little phone thing and tell people to sit down more times. Like, I would say I had more times on that one flight than all the times I've flown in the last 2 years where they've had to tell someone we during takeoff and landing, you must be in your seat. At one point, one of the flight attendants literally got on. It's like, sit down. You
Okay, look, I we are in the 21st century, right?
Mhm.
And I think at this point, for most people, not everyone, obviously, but for
Right,
most people, flying is not new.
right.
Sit your ass down.
Or just like recognize that flight attendants are not glorified like waiters and waitresses. Like they're
Oh dear
actually like
lord.
trained professionals that are there to help on if something is unfortunate to happen, to be able to jump in and help people and just like listen to what they're telling you. Because like I look at it as like I'm not doing nothing to wind up on nobody's no fly list.
No. I'm like, I got too much shit to do. Like,
That
I'm
part.
no. Like, what that shit would
They
drive me crazy.
They tell me to stand up, Imma stand up. They tell me to sit down, Imma sit down. If I gotta clap at the end of the flight, it might
Okay,
pain me to
yeah.
do so, but Imma clap at the end of the flight.
Are you the person that, like, as soon as the plane stops, are you the person that like unbuckles and jumps up and gets your shit down, or do you wait?
I typically wait because I like to be at a window seat, so and I'm tall enough that if I try and stand up, I'm, like, hunched over like
You
this, so I will wait until, like, there's, like, 3 or 4 rows ahead of me, and that's when I'll start shuffling around and, like, to get get myself together.
I'm the person like it's like I'll wait because I'm gonna get off the fucking plane one way or the other. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Like it's like there's no reason to jump up. Like my dad was always the person that was like, "Oh look, the plane is like barely stopping." He's like, jump. I'm like, "Where are you going?"
Especially if I have checked bags, I know it's gonna be
Mm,
10, 15 minutes before those
right.
bags are even out, so
I'm
it's
like,
like, am I hurrying up to wait?
where exactly do you think you're going? You're sitting near the back of the plane. You ain't going nowhere. Sit down. Just chill. Jesus
That part.
Christ. But my dad was also the person that would always get to the airport like 6 hours ahead of time, which
Oh,
was always so
no.
much fun for me. I loved that. That
No.
was great. Well, I'm sorry you didn't have a fantastic weekend, but, I'm glad that there were some good parts about it.
Yeah, I got
So,
back home on Sunday and we just moved, and so we had our housewarming party and on Sunday, and so that was nice getting to use the pool for the first time because we
Oh,
have a
nice.
pool and everything, and so that kind of got me on the right foot.
Excellent. That's good.
Yeah.
My weekend was, interesting. Uh, So Friday night, my our youngest is in high school. She's a freshman,
Mhm.
and she was in her school's production of High School Musical,
Cute, cute.
which was this last weekend. It was Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We went Friday. It was an experience, shall we say? Um, so the school that she goes to has it's a really nice like auditorium like theater, like there's a
Mhm.
really nice stage, whatever. There's no like surround sound, so and all the speakers were facing the stage, which was really fucking annoying,
Oh,
and they
no.
played like a backing track instead of like either having a band or whatever, but again all the speakers were facing the stage, so we could hardly hear anything. And the way that they did the sound with the microphones, it was really bizarre. And the scene changes, I should have like set a timer on my phone every time there was a scene change, because I swear to God, some of these scene changes took longer than the actual scene.
Oh
It was,
no.
oh my God. And they were doing it completely in the dark. It was so dark. And I'm like, how y'all, okay. It was, so, I mean, it was fine. You know, it was High School Musical done by high schoolers.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have been worse.
God, that made me feel so old, because the High School Musical I did my senior year of high school was Grease. We did Grease my senior year.
My senior year was West Side Story.
Okay.
Yeah.
And High School Musical came out the year after I graduated high school.
I'm not even going to address that. I'm not even going to address it. Saturday and Sunday, or at least most of Saturday and Sunday, we spent working in the yard. If you've been following along on Patreon, we had the pig house moved to where it needed to go. Last Thursday. No, Thursday before. Last Thursday. I don't know. Thursday. At some point Thursday. Last Thursday. A week ago. No, I don't know. Whatever the fuck it was. I don't know. Time is weird. We had the pig house moved to where it needed to go, which meant that we then had to arrange the rest of the yard so we can get the pigs moved, which means dismantling the fencing that was around the old pig area, moving it over, getting it set up, getting their house situated, get the tarp put down, all the straw in, all the hay, all the good stuff, put their pool in there. They're all situated by the lemon tree, so there's like natural shade. They love it. They're happy. They're super, super happy over there. We did have to, so our original plan was to just move the pool, because we have an above ground pool. So the idea was to move the pool so that we could get the pig house where it needed to be, and then move the pool back. However, unbeknownst to us, the pool pump decided to stop working at some point. So the pool then had to be completely dismantled and taken out to the curb for bulk trash. That was, yeah.
Was it like,
luckily, you do live on a farm?
I don't live on a farm. We don't live on a farm, although we would have a petting zoo, I feel. So yeah, that was we have, however, since acquired a new pool, so now all we have to do is put it up and get it going. Yeah, and then we have the old pig area that we're going to turn into a garden, because it's got a shade thing, so we can actually like grow some shit, because there's already a tomato plant that's like growing by itself, because like a seed got loose somewhere and decided to plant itself right there. So it's fine. Sunday morning was a fan fusion rehearsal, which we had at the at Ripple, which was awesome. Plenty of room, plenty of space. And of course, Jeremy and Jason are
awesome,
so amazing and so wonderful. And bless their hearts for listening, sitting there for 3 hours listening to the same songs on repeat. I'm so sorry. I'm sure by the end of it, they're like, oh my God. Also this weekend, we were dealing with teenager bullshit. That's always super fun.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. It was not awesome. Like it was definitely not awesome. He's going to be very lucky, like that he's able to survive until his birthday on Thursday, because at this point,
this close to your birthday,
right?
Yeah, I'm like, oh boy, like this kid. And here's the thing, right? Like, we get that teenagers do dumb shit. We were all teenagers, but I think for the most part, and speaking from my own experience and my partner's experience, generally you fuck up, you learn, you don't do the same thing again. And you especially don't do the same thing 30 seconds after your entire family sits down and says, don't do this dumb shit. Like it was bad. Teenagers suck a lot.
And they stink. They stink a lot.
They do.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
it's like for as much as these boys shower, why their room still smells like feet and ball sweat, I have no idea. I
Gotta love
I don't.
hormones.
Huh. Nope. Nope. It was yeah, so that was like that was an overhanging thing over basically the entire weekend because that actually happened on Friday. Like it started on Friday.
Wow.
So it was one of these things where like he wasn't where he was supposed to be. And when he came home, he wasn't expecting my partner and I to be sitting on the couch still. He thought we were going to be going like he thought we were going to potentially be awake but in bed, which means that he would have been able to just walk in and go to his room and we would have been none the wiser, although and he walked in the door and stopped dead in his tracks. It's like,
I've been
oh.
there.
Oh. And we weren't even waiting, like we weren't waiting up for him. It just happened to be that we were, up and sitting there. And then it was, oh, why aren't you in your work clothes? Why are you having a backpack? Like all the shit. It was a thing. Ooh, it was a thing. And boy just kept digging himself. It was like, here, have a bigger shovel because your hole isn't deep enough. So yeah, that was super fun. Felicia, how was your weekend?
Yes, I would say moms always know. Even when they don't think they know, they somehow figure it
That's
out.
something, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They know.
Yeah.
I would say that I did not have as an eventful weekend. I didn't have pigs. I didn't have gardens. I didn't have pools. Um,
No lions, tigers, or bears.
None of that. I had drag bingo at Drink Me Tea Room, which was something that I had never experienced before. Is that we had folks that had never played bingo uh, in a number of ways, and then we had folks that were born on the same weekend or like within a day or
Huh.
so in the same year.
Oh,
that's trippy.
And so I called them the triplets from different
That's
moms.
trippy.
And how they became friends is very interesting too. So I was like, this is so weird. Like, how does this happen? Like, how do you become besties with like, that Taurus energy? But so it was fun and got introduced to some boozy cupcakes, which are very boozy. Mm-hmm.
They lived up to the name.
I always struggle with like
Don't drink, but I can eat.
Like booze and things like in my pastries because I'm not a big drinker anyway. And sometimes I'm like, okay, maybe the flavor, but if it hasn't been cooked out and it's just like, let me just throw a bunch of tequila or whatever in like the thing, I'm like, no, thank you. Like I just want my cake. I don't want my cake and booze.
I prefer that and eating my cake too. So no problem here.
That makes sense. Oh my god.
That's about it.
All right, so are we gonna play my? Maybe. Felicia's frozen again. Oh Lord. Okay, Felicia is frozen again. That's fun. We're gonna do this then. All right, so my tip tonight, since Felicia is frozen, we're gonna she'll figure it out. So my tip tonight is more of a discussion. So feel free to jump in. Felicia is lagging because that was not me. That was Felicia. Wow. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. So my tip tonight is kind of inspired, partially because of the bullshit that happened in my house this weekend,
Mhm.
and partially because, Kristofer, you are a person in the community. You are considered a community leader, and we've both been around long enough to see some shit go down in this community, both with individuals and businesses and groups and all the things. So, my tip tonight is she back? We'll see. Is
I
better
hate it
to ask
here.
forgiveness than ask for permission or building trust in all types of relationships. Um, I think that, we've either heard it or potentially even said it at least once. Better to ask for forgiveness than permission. And what that usually means, however, is that whatever it is that you're doing or plan on doing
Mm.
is something that isn't going to go over well. So you figure it's just be easier to just do it and then say you're sorry after the fact. And
Ooh.
there's so many issues with that. It's just not. The thing is regardless of what kind of relationship we're talking about, whether it is parents and kids, partners, friends, community leaders, community members, businesses, patrons, whatever it is, trust is a huge part in any of those relationships. And it
Mhm.
always looks a little bit different depending on what the type of relationship is, but it's still a big. And when you decide to go the ask forgiveness route, you're already on the road to damaging that trust already.
Mhm.
And permission can sound icky, so instead of permission, let's say transparency, because you know,
Mm.
is transparency and communication are key to building trust, especially when we're talking about things on a larger scale, like communities and folks in communities and groups within that communities. Um, there are a lot of things that can damage that trust within communities. And we've all seen it.
Mm.
Things like supporting
Not
businesses that
me.
are actively
Mm-mm.
working against your interests. Like, but their chicken is really good.
Is it though?
Or I loved the books when I was
No.
like 7. Eh. you know Supporting even like LGBTQ plus businesses that are owned by Republicans, or who are fine with groups like Log Cabin Republicans or Gays Against Groomers or whatever, like meeting and being at their space. Like, if you continue to support those businesses, that basically says that you don't mind that this is a thing and that you're fine with it. And it's like, it's fine. It's okay. Um, Supporting entertainers who are problematic, including but not limited to racists, because Lord knows we've seen that. Anti-trans, groomers, people who are okay with groomers, people who support groomers, misuse of funds. The thing we've seen, we've Lord, if you've been in, speaking from experience being in this particular community, if you've been around long enough, you've seen all of it, like all of it. And then, of course, there's the like bold-faced lies from business owners. For example, we've always had free water.
Oh.
Just as an example. Just just as an example. Um, but things like that can like really wreak havoc in communities. And it gets like there's a sort of tricky, I don't know, tiptoeing that happens when we see a business that is anti-trans, or a
I don't
business owner who is anti-trans, or a business owner, a bar owner who is racist or whatever, and then it's like, okay, shit. Now what?
Mhm.
Like we've all seen it, and it's there, but it's I don't know that it's a lost cause necessarily for something, because it's like you I think that there are ways to be able to potentially rebuild trust.
Mhm.
And again, it could be whether it's communities or individuals or whatever. I think the biggest thing is own your shit. Accountability is huge.
Mhm.
Just admit that you fucked up. Don't double down. Don't do the, well, I don't even know why they saw that, or that wasn't meant for everybody's eyes, or whatever it is. It's like, okay, look, okay, the fact of the matter is people saw it, people heard it, people experienced it. Don't try to gaslight people into thinking that it didn't happen, because it did. And just just eh, just if you own it, and this is what we were trying to tell our teenager, is literally he had all four parents sitting in the living room talking to him, and we were like, dude, if you had just like owned up to
Oh,
this shit,
all
it
y'all?
would have been a very different conversation.
Mhm.
Like, you can be like, I fucked up, I wasn't where I was supposed to be, like, instead you're lying and then doubling down on the lies and saying I didn't say that, when we literally have your phone and it's right there. Like, you're still gonna tell me you didn't say that, because it's literally right here. It's right here.
Ooh.
Well, that's not what it, no, that's literally what it says.
It's in black and
I
white.
would love to see that.
Literally what it says. So it was actually
Uh,
yeah, it was, yes, Felicia.
it sounds like you have a pretty, 'cause I imagine that I would not be here if that had happened to me. I, um, um,
There, yeah, trust.
hmm.
It was actually kind of funny, because he already knew he had fucked up. And like my partner mentioned, in the text messages, his girlfriend was like, you should probably delete your texts. And he's like, nah, my mom like believes me, she trusts me, she'll never take my phone. Surprise, bitch.
Yeah. There's a certain level of deliberateness in that, more
Yeah,
so than like casually making a mistake and like doing
yeah,
something. There's a little bit more deliberateness in that.
yeah. It was a whole ass thing.
That's very
But again,
manipulative.
oh, you have no idea. But again, if it's, regardless of
Mm.
who or what it is, if you take some accountability for your shit, it's I think it's possible to potentially repair relationships. I think that even in, talking about certain authors that have like gone off the fucking deep end, Jesus fucking
Mhm.
Christ. If when that first happened and everybody was like, what the fuck? If, I don't know, she had been like,
Mhm.
you know what? I I see, I messed up. I'm so sorry. I understand that this is not correct at all, whatever. It, and then not done it again, it would have been very different. But you have people that double down, and then it's like, oh my God, what are you doing? And then they just wonder why the hell they're in trouble all the time, or why people are boycotting their businesses, or why people, you know, make it a point to kind of spread the word to other people. It's like, hey, just so you know, this business, has no problem with like log cabin Republicans coming in and chilling a happy hour, and whatever it is. But I think that there are ways to kind of send that message without necessarily being fucking crazy about shit. Like, if you know that a business, if you know that, as far as like community relationships, right?
Mhm.
So if you know that there's a certain business or someone that provides a service or whatever it is that is anti-trans or is racist or, you know, whatever it is. I think that one of the biggest things that we need to be able to do is to be able to take our business elsewhere. Take your show away, take your event away, be like, no, we're not going to support you because you don't support us. And right? I mean, fuck, look, Target and Tesla, like their shit has gone. Meanwhile, Costco is like, oh, we're fine. What?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
fine.
so it's like it's one of those things where it's and not all money is good money. And I
Mhm.
think that is a big I think that's a big thing, especially when it comes to entertainers, when it comes to people that, you know, either produce shows or even if it's like a one-off kind of thing. Not all money is good money. And that is a that can be a really hard sort of come to Jesus moment. But again, you know, not booking entertainers who are problematic regardless of how talented they might be. We've all seen that. It's like, oh well, I know that this person is XYZ, but you know, they're really good at this. And it's like um, okay, that's but if you make it a point as, you know, as either a producer or someone that runs a show or whatever to say, you know, we can't book you until you show changed behavior. I think that that sends, you know, a message to the community at large that says we are willing to help make sure that this space continues to be as safe of a space as we can make it. Because there's no such thing as like 100% safe space. It's not gonna no like we it
Well, I think also you think about when you talk about safe spaces, what's safe for someone is not necessarily
right
safe for other individuals. I think about for me
right
personally, there's been so many cases where what is a great space for individuals for me as a black person absolutely is not safe.
right.
Mhm.
And I think that
And it
that
doesn't
kind of
mean that
comes in.
yeah.
Oh, right. No, no. And I think well, that kind of comes into like, you know, okay, so if you, you know, if you know that this space is, and I think you have to kind of look at it in almost like larger sort of general terms, right?
Mhm.
So if I know that someone or a space or an owner or a business or whatever is racist, for me, I'm like, oh, I can't. It'd be perfectly safe for me as a I have no melanin, zero. You know, it's a safe space for me. I don't have to worry about it. However, there are people that I care about that would 100% not feel safe in this space or around this person or whatever it is. So I try to do my best to make sure that in at least broad terms
Mhm.
I try to make sure that things are as safe as possible because it's you know just I mean it's not there's some things that can't be helped and there's some things that you absolutely can do to make sure that most people are like you can't go and like okay what are everybody's triggers and I'm gonna make sure like there's no way there's no fucking way
They're all
I'm
day.
like
Right.
Oh my.
there's no fucking way you know? But
I would say that over the years, a lot of people have come and gone and continued their bullshit elsewhere. Um, a, a particular person comes to mind that does things and picks up and leaves and then goes to another place and puts their claws
mm,
in. And we are fighting our sleep tonight. Sorry, you are listening in real time. But there just seems to be like if like a watchdog bit to us as a community that
wow.
it's the real thing. It's parenting. That's how this
Mm.
goes. And he's probably getting more frustrated. I probably should go check. in a moment if that doesn't calm down. But I was going to say is that um, we tend to look out for each other in certain circumstances, but I was going to say is that um, I wish that we would build spaces for people that are trusted to flourish, to build community. Because sometimes I feel like the people that kill the trust, kill it for, like when you were a kid and your mom would be like, I mean, just because you did it, everybody else, the auntie would come in and be like, nope, you can't. Nope. Dad come in. Nope, you can't do it. And you'd be like, well, damn.
Right.
Because I feel like those opportunities sometimes are killed by, something that somebody else did. So
Mhm.
I don't know if there's a way to do that, or if there.
Or even just thinking, I think kind of to your point, like thinking about sometimes that it's easy to want blanket
Mhm,
justice, to look at a situation and say, well, this one thing happened, so this one thing is the one and only solution that's going to fix this problem.
mhm,
I can think about specific situations with individuals where it's like, I want this person to completely disappear from all public life.
well, that's not
And
gonna.
for me, I think about situations where it's like, that's not that's not reasonable. Everybody has the ability to nobody's not actively doing something, or if someone, depending on what the thing is, not with all things, like we're not, if you are a chomo, you're not working at an elementary school. But it, if there are certain things where it's like, at the very least, sometimes earning that trust is just allowing a person to exist, or allowing a thing to exist, so that time has the ability to allow you to see change behavior or growth from whatever that individual or whatever that business may have done in the past. And really, that time is going to be the only thing that truly
Right.
rebuilds that. And do we give and allow people grace? I think with the ability of having rapid fire information at our fingertips at all points and hands, it's so easy and so quickly that that we dissolve into this mob mentality. When you stop and ask people, what is the
Mhm,
resolution that you want from the situation? It's easy to talk about what is gone wrong, what has been, how you have been wronged, but very few people stop and take stock in, like, okay, a wrong has been committed. What does good look like moving forward? What
mhm.
would good look moving forward look like to you if this person were willing to change, or had the ability to change, or this business, that what would good look like? And let's talk more about that, especially if it's something where it is not illegal, the end of the world, one of the isms that are out there. Is this
Mhm,
something where an individual made a mistake, or um made a mistake out of either ignorance, or even if they made it out of malice, but they are willing to own the fact, like you said, Freddie, taking ownership of mistakes. Maybe they own the fact that they did something out of malice. Not that they're going to be welcomed back with open arms
mhm.
immediately, but allow them to have the space to have time to grow from that opportunity, and see, are they going to continue making the same mistakes that they made in the past.
I think that that's honestly that's where accountability comes in. I think that, it's if a person isn't willing to be held accountable, or is willing to kind of own up to the shit, that I think that becomes a more difficult space to be able to
That's where you start
make
questioning
amends. You know what
credibility.
I mean?
Mhm.
And again, this goes back to things that we say all the time, which is fucking communication is key in basically all relationships. It doesn't matter
Mhm.
what the relationship is. Communication is key. The expectation is for truth and transparency if you are asked a question, or if you are confronted with something, or if you are asked to be held accountable for something. That that expectation is for truth and transparency, regardless. Um
Mhm,
lies, half-truths, double talk, fallacies will always be found out, especially in communities like this where you think there's secrets, but there's really not so many secrets as you think there are. Like,
Girl, we all know each other.
like there's you think things are secrets, but it's like, are they though? Because like it's not. It's a very small community. As like it seems big, but is not that big. Like there's the people know shit. It's
Especially
just
if
what it
you've got
is.
people who are observant. I feel
Right.
like I'm a very observant individual, and even if I don't have all the ingredients, I can still tell you what recipe is gonna come out of the situation.
Oh, I do the same thing. I'm like, I just sit back and I'm like, oh shit, and then I'm like, look, I told you so.
Like, this is about to blow
Then I'm like,
up, this is about to
I'm
blow
like,
up. I think
mm.
and, like, I think there is a certain level of, because we have so much information all the time, it can't be easy. Even if you are willing to own your mistake, it can't be easy to be in a situation where you've got 25 people coming at you and not trying to, and I don't, and unfortunately, I think sometimes we're not always coming at people um with the expectation that they're going to apologize immediately, or at least not coming at them in a way that opens the door for that space.
Uh,
How do we hold people
yeah.
accountable, but also hold people accountable in a way that makes it so, like, the piece of, there's a there is the talk about, there's this tribe, and whether or not this is true or not, but it's a story I remember from growing up, that when someone does something bad, they bring that individual into the center of the community and all talk about the good things that they do.
Oh, I think I remember hearing a similar story.
Oh,
And
teach me.
Yeah.
I've never heard this
And
before.
so it's like, if you've done something bad, if you're an individual and you're a part of this community, and not to say that this is how we should handle every single situation, because obviously there are some grievances that are more serious than others. There are definitely some things where it's like, you do not pass go, you do not collect 200,
Mm.
go
Right,
straight
right.
to jail. But there are some circumstances where it's like, is 15 people coming at this individual right now the best usage of our time, or doesn't even allow the opportunity for grace?
Mm.
Mm,
Does it allow the
mm.
opportunity? Because I know I've been in some situations where someone has taken half truth, said it, and put it out there in the environment, and it sounds plausible enough. And I've seen folks come at me or come at others, individuals, sideways. And it's like, you know what? I don't even feel like defending myself right now. I just feel like giving you all the finger.
And I think that's another thing is like, all the times you got to pick your battles. It's like, I
It's like,
am
yeah,
not engaging in this bullshit. Like,
right.
okay,
There's
whatever.
nothing,
Go.
and like, when I ask people, and even in my job, sometimes I ask people, like, it's, what would good like look like for you? That's my old I worked retail for 17 years in customer service. That was okay. There's obviously a disconnect here. There's obviously something
Mhm.
that you feel like you're not getting something out of this. What would good look like to you? And I think that kind of what you started with, you were talking about this from the frame of relationships. And in relationships, sometimes it's taking
We
a step
fight.
back and stepping outside
Mm.
of your ego and asking the question of your partner or partners, what would good look like to you? What in this
Right.
situation? Because obviously it may not be coming to me, or I may have misstepped. And in this moment, it's not immediately coming to me. But if I can figure out what good would look like, or you can express it to me, one, as a person, that lets me know that, like, there is a specific thing that's out there that I know I can do better, and you also see that in me. But if you can't, if I'm a business owner and you can't even express to me what good looks like, you just know that something feels off, where do I go from that?
Mm.
Right. Right.
Or if
Right.
I'm a person in a relationship, where do I go from there? It's like, this feels wrong, this feels icky. Okay, so let's work through this. And
Right.
maybe it's not, of course, not a one-off conversation. Maybe it's a dialogue that happens over time, and coming to an agreement of what good looks like in the future,
And understanding that
and
people
understanding.
don't have the same perspective as you.
Right.
Right. Now, speaking about relationships and bullshit, we're going to jump ahead to our guest.
Well, damn.
I didn't have a good segue. So Kristofer Inez Oynx, Gay America Esquire 2025. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. So, like I said,
You
my
can
name
just
is
read your
Christopher.
bio if you want. That's fine. We'll
No,
go
Would you like me
ahead
to
and
start? I don't think we have
we'll
time.
just
no.
oh no, my goodness, good. There we go.
You're
Go
good.
on ahead. You're good.
But yes, my name's Christopher. I'm originally from Toledo, Ohio, but I've lived here in Phoenix, Arizona, going on 19 years now. I moved here in 2006. June of next year will be 20 years that I've lived here. It's crazy. But I got my start in nightlife literally the same year I moved here. I moved here in June and started working in nightlife in October of that year, and I've done everything in the bars, from guest bartending,
Everything.
promotion, go-go dancing. I've stepped in to help bar backing from times. I've been a show producer. I've been a show DJ. I've been a entertainer, obviously. Jack of all trades, master of none, but better to be master of many, better to know many than master of none. Typed it. I was like, finish the statement. Finish. You got to finish the whole statement. But I am very blessed to have had. I started my kind of title holder career doing lots of fundraising titles, being Mr. Phoenix Pride in 2017, Ember 14 of the Imperial Court. Between those two reigns, my partners and I and the folks that we worked with was able to raise, with just those two reigns, almost $100,000 for the community, whether that be for scholarships.
Yeah.
With the Imperial Court, it's a lot of different things that we raise money for throughout the year. In 2023, I had the distinct honor and pleasure of being the official chair, along with two honorary chairs. Let's see, they were Mary Cory Booker of the city of Tempe, as well as I just forgot her first name. I feel really bad. But she is an accomplished lawyer on her part. She actually is, at least she was at the time, she was a individual who was on the law team for Cure Leaf at the time, but it was Greg Stanton's wife, was also my honorary co-chair. Why can't I think
of Nancy?
No.
No.
Why? No. Oh my God.
She's such a sweet, and she's very accomplished on her own, and the fact that I had to refer to her as Greg Stanton's wife is embarrassing.
Ooh, she's
Nicole.
Nicole, yes.
I'm like I should know that. Like, I should totally know that. I'm like, why the hell?
Do I get partial points?
You were close. Had the first lever, but that year for AIDS Walk, we were able to bring in all the amazing teams that put in work. We raised, I want to say, over $250,000 for Aunt Rita's and their partner agencies that year. So I am a fundraising entertainer at heart, and community is super, super important to me, because many people in the community have heard me tell the story, but this community moving here to Phoenix genuinely saved my life. And so I have spent as many hours and as much time as I do giving back to the community that I feel like saved my life, as I have. And with coming upon my 10 years of doing drag, it just felt right timing for me to step out and do something a little bit more for me, but utilizing the skills that I have learned over the years as a title holder locally and regionally, to jump out and do a national title, and did my first one and won on the first try.
It was probably rigged, but congratulations. Just kidding.
So what was that like? Because being with community titles, I mean, I feel like those are like the hardest working individuals in town, as two Phoenix Prides sit right here. I ain't done shit, but
you've supported a lot of folks.
I sit here in my chair. That's what I do. But like, what was that like? And how was it different from running for community titles?
I think it's pageantry is expensive, and this was the first time
Hell yeah.
I've asked community for something that wasn't essentially a
Mm,
501(c)(3). I yeah, like it was, and the amount of support that I received in running for this title, it honestly took me back. It took me aback because it was not what I was expecting. I know this is my dream, and ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm responsible for making my dreams come true. But
mhm.
having the support of the community in the way that I did was very sobering, and it almost makes it feel like I did this because I wanted to do this, but and I've seen and I know how much this community loves and supports me, and they showed it financially. I think that wealth comes in many forms, whether it's time, experience, or actual dollars, and that wealth of this community was shared with me in all three ways.
I mean, let's be real. You know, there are folks that will ask for help with pageants and things like that, kind of the way you did it, which is very rarely. It's like, I'm gonna try this thing. I'm gonna, I'm gonna go out and do this, and this is the one time that I'm doing something for me and not for the community or whatever. And then there's the folks that are asking like every other month for what what I mean. So I think that
Mhm.
there's that distinct difference. I think that
Yeah.
it's and that's not to say that people can ask for financial help however whenever they want to do it. I
Mhm.
think that it becomes harder to continue to support people when it's an constant thing, as opposed to not it's not a one-off, because that's not to say that you're never going to do anything again,
Right.
but
Mhm.
it's a rare occurrence when you're like, hey, I'm gonna do this thing, and I would love to, ask for your support. If you get it, great. If you don't, whatever. I'm still gonna do the
Mm.
thing. So,
Right. I and I like there's on one side of my brain where I was like, people are gonna spend their money on what they want to spend their money on. If somebody is
Right,
posting a GoFundMe every other month that people are
right.
donating to, more power to you. But if uh, I think it kind of shows the way you're gonna show up if you hope to. But and also people they have those individuals have to be more realistic. If you are someone who is asking for money every other month for whatever the case may be, no one is saying that that need is not real. That need obviously is very real and should be taken seriously. But like, also don't get mad at folks
Right.
when literally your life story is channel Facebook and people are tuning in to watch your life on channel Facebook. Don't be mad if the critics are giving you reviews.
I,
Uh-huh.
we've all
Uh-huh.
seen
I will say the
that.
truth. I will say the truth that we are all referring to. But, because I think, um, I don't mind supporting folks. I don't mind, like, giving items. I don't mind,
Mhm.
but if you say, uh I need help paying rent for this month, and this month. And then the next month, I see you post something like, I'm traveling to so and so to run for this. I'm like, wait, bitch, what? I just helped you pay your rent. Like, what just happened? Like,
Right.
and then so we're speaking of trust. I feel like we trust you enough to support the community. We're gonna support those that uh, support us,
Mhm.
and those that do the whole shady bit where they do a GoFundMe. I'm like, hope you win.
So there are a plethora of pageant systems out there. Lord
Mhm.
knows there's so many. I can't even keep track of them
I
all
think I'm
anymore.
gonna
Like
come up
there's
with one next week.
I feel like they just like there's the ones that have been around, and then
Mhm.
like I feel like new ones keep popping. I literally can't keep track of them anymore. I'm like I feel very out of the loop. Why gay America?
Um, Gay America, I think, one, the fact that it has the all automatic distinction of for our Miss division, it's the oldest, it's been around the longest. For our male division, we were the first ones to have a male division. And so for me, there is the legacy and the history there, and our formers are very much so involved. Um, they've kind of shown what we build. And I love the question always gets asked in America pageantry during an interview, or do you feel like it's more important to be an administrator or more important to be an entertainer? And I feel like that's truly the one of the few pageants where that question is asked as regularly as it is. And it's because the America system truly does train you to be an administrator, whether you are coming in to compete for the first time or you're someone who's been around the system for an extended period of time. If you compete and go through the motions, or you're going through the competition, taking those critiques that you get from judges, they are really training you not just to be an amazing entertainer, they're training you how to go and take skills, and the things that you learn through Gay America, they're going to be things that you're able to apply in any system. And really, I think that the Gay America, the way it's set up, that handbook is essentially your road guide in order to tell you how to compete. We have our categories, we have our subcategories where it really truly spells it out for you. Your job is how well do you interpret when you're given the recipe book? The recipe book is
Mm.
there. Asia O'Hara, who is a former Miss Gay America, she said out of all of her national titles, winning Miss Gay America was the easiest title for her to prepare for, because they
Mm.
specifically tell you what to do through that handbook. It's all in making sure how you take you and interpret it through that guidebook and that handbook and show us who you are as an individual. And the Gay America system has continued to evolve in a way where it really takes the focus away from pageantry and drag and the fluff of it. And it's really, who are you at your core? Who are you as a person? And how can you bring that forward and bring it into enriching what we already have?
Mm.
Lord knows I've seen some national handbooks that are
Questionable.
it's like,
There's a lot of
here's
gray area. Sometimes
yeah,
there's
and
a lot of gray area.
it's a lot of
Yeah.
gray area, and then the gray area when you have judges
It's
just
gray for them too.
it gets there's no
Very
distinct
muddy.
guidelines, there's no when you I'm just gonna say it, like talking about things like US of A, especially when it comes to like the MI divisions and things like that, like when you're talking about like creative evening wear, there's no real guidelines for that. It's just it's creative red carpet, but the problem is that it doesn't what's creative for one person isn't necessarily creative for somebody else. And like for me as a judge, throwing a fuck ton of stones on something doesn't make it creative. It makes it sparkly, but it doesn't necessarily make it creative.
Oh,
But
damn.
then you have like, and I've seen judging go sideways on shit, and I'm like, how did that person score that well in that category when this didn't fit, that got messed up, this wasn't working, what happened? And it's because there are no clear guidelines for really anything.
And I can't speak to how other national systems pick their judges, but I think a large part of it is going to come down to the judges that you entrust to be there. And I know Michael and Rob, when it comes to Miss Gay America and Miss Gay America Femme, and I know Casey and I with Esquire, we're already talking about judges right now. It takes Michael and Rob, they take months to come up with their judges panel. And it's not just, okay, here are these 5 individuals or here are these 7 individuals and we go. It's like, here's a list. Who is going to balance out and who is going to overall have the experience across this entire judges panel, where if there's a lack in one person, that is made up for in someone else on the judges panel.
I think though, like, because that's one of the worst things is that you get someone on a judges panel that is so inexperienced and their scores are
inconsistent,
inconsistent, or everybody else scores this one contestant high because they understand the assignment, and then the other person is like, well, whatever, and then their scores are way the fuck down here, and it's like,
and they leave no notes.
And
Right.
and one thing that with Gay America as the title holder, so for all state and regional prelims, before scores are verified, I'm there with the scores verifying. If something is an outlier or it looks like something's off, it's bringing that judge in, having a conversation. Is this what you intended to write down? Is like, walk me through how you came to this
Right.
score. So because we want to make sure that these scores are truly what you mean. I mean, I'll even say, like, there was this year with the Pride pageant, there was a score that came through, and I was like, this score makes zero sense in the grand scheme of looking at all the scores. And I brought the judge back and I was like, I just want you to look at your scores. I'll tell you who each one of the contestants are, and I want you to like verify that this is what you meant to do. Didn't lead them, didn't tell them what score made was weird to me. I just said, I want to make sure this is what you intended.
Mhm.
This was this
Mhm.
contestant, this was this contestant, this was this contestant, this was it. And when I went through it with them, they were like, that's not what I meant to write down at all. And so it is
Boop-de boop
important
boop
to
boop.
have someone that is looking at those scores and making sure and has an eye to be able to say, like, no, this does not feel right. If that judge had said to me, no, that's exactly what I meant to put down, then okay, that's what the score,
Mhm.
that's the score. That's the score they intended
Right.
to put down. I just want to make sure that this is what you meant. If I can visually see that this feels not right.
Right. I have to say I do like that. I think almost every pageant system now will post scores publicly online after the
Mhm.
The
fact,
night
so that
of.
right, like the night of, so that the transparency is there, and I know that there have been times in different systems that, people have looked at it and been like, wait, that doesn't add up.
Right.
That
Mhm.
doesn't, and it's like, oh shit, so that
Oh,
it looks, it definitely lends itself to the transparency that I think it is important when it comes to pageantry, because I feel like, if back in the day there was some shady shit kind of going on with some stuff that was like, oh no, we're just gonna erase this real quick here and fix
God,
this, you know
no.
what I mean? Like there was no accountability and no transparency when it came to title holders, promoters, things like that. It was just like, it is what it is. It's
Well, now the
fine.
internet calls you
No,
out
it's
for your
like,
bullshit.
baby, these folks are spending thousands of dollars, hundreds of hours, time, sweat, blood, and tears. We want to make sure that um, we're doing right by these. And thankfully,
Right.
knock on wood, I've not personally been a part of a pageant, but where that has been the case, where something hokey has gone on with the scores and we've had to fix things after the fact. But I think that's also part of doing your due diligence before you even get a crown on someone's head.
Right. No, 100%. I think
Right.
sometimes things get rushed, but it
You
happens.
know what, baby? If that audience needs to sit an extra 5 minutes,
Mhm.
it's that much more important, because even if it's made right, you can never bring that moment back. You can never
Right.
duplicate that moment for
Right.
whoever the case, whether even if they weren't the winner, if it was like a placement change or it was a
I mean, look at Steve Harvey.
category award. Um, oh yeah, I personally had that moment. I had a Steve Harvey moment, unfortunately.
Mm.
Very,
Uh,
very early in my career. I announced
uh,
the right contestant name. I did not announce the right contestant number, and I said the number before I said the name.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that was fun. Not really.
oops.
Ooh.
Oops. But so,
Oops.
and it's like, and I profusely apologize to the contestant whose number I called, because I can't imagine, like, I saw it on their face even in that moment when I said contestant number 3, this other person. So then
Ah.
so everyone's
Like
Oh
you
looking at me
god.
snatched
like,
their wig all at the
which one
same
is
time.
it? Is it
Right. Is it the contestant number, or is it the one that you called? Because
right?
is it the name or the number is the right one? That's
Right.
gonna. I was like,
And the
oh
name was the
fuck.
right. I said the right name, just the
Oh,
wrong
thank
The
number.
goodness.
wrong number.
Yeah.
When is your step down
It is
again?
going to be next year. So it is going to be April 29th through May 2nd in Kansas City, Missouri.
When did you win?
October
I'm
of
like
Math
So
ain't mathin'.
yeah. So I have a little bit of an extended reign to kind of we had to readjust and we're going back to prelims. We took a look at the categories. Last year we added beachwear, decided it wasn't a good fit. With us going back to prelims and also with us going back to matching up with Miss Gay America and now Miss Gay America Femme. The scoring is going to be weighted the exact same across all divisions. The categories are going to be the same. So we will have presentation that will be judged at the national level and just given feedback at the state and regional level and city, state, and regional level. We are going to have the same weights across. So what unfortunately was happening in the past, if we had a Esquire for the male division, a prelim for the male division going on at the same time as the Miss division, the judges were having to go through two separate orientations because our scoring systems were different at one point.
Oh,
So
no.
I'm thankful in the fact that one of the things I talked about during onstage question, which won me the pageant, but one of the things I
Not to
talked
brag, but
about, perfect score. One of the things that I talked about during onstage question was the fact that the America brand is an amazing and strong brand, as it were, and we should be lockstep and working alongside because it works. And the longevity, the amount of contestants that come through here, the caliber of contestants that come through is incredible. The guys that I was competing up against, they did not make it easy for me. And in fact, up until they called my name, I honestly was comfortable. I thought I had gotten first alternate. I was like, my first alternate. He is an amazing competitor. He pulled off a win in both interview and talent, and I was like, you know what, brother, you did it. I watched you, so I was happy. Um, I would have been happy in that moment if I had not won. But he is an amazing competitor that I know this will be his title at some point in time.
Mm,
Who's your first
love
alternate
that.
again?
August Edwards.
Okay. Yeah.
So I I have a big question, and this is not your interview, but it is your interview. So I know that there has been a lot of stank on like the evolution of pageantry
Mhm,
and including everyone.
mhm.
So can you talk more about how Gay America is um, moving in that, not to say the right direction, but in that forward direction?
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely. So for the Esquire division, we are open to trans men and cisgendered men. So our qualifier when it comes to that is, are you a guy? And whatever that looks like. And also thinking about the current politics that we're living under right now is
you don't say.
really uh, we know that it may not be easy to change documentation to get gender markers that align with. So we have eliminated that qualifier. The one thing we do say is this is not a male illusionist contest. This is a contest
Mm,
produced for men. What that looks like to you is what that looks like to you. If you come to me and you tell me you are a man, great, wonderful, awesome. Let's do that. Let's move forward with this. However, if something comes into conflict with that, then we'll take appropriate steps in that what that comes. But in running for this title, you are declaring not only for yourself, but you're declaring to the world and the community, I'm a guy,
mhm.
and that's what we're looking for. I think that moving forward with Miss Gay America and Miss Gay America Femme, I genuinely love kind of how they did it because in keeping the identifier that Miss Gay America is about the transformation and Miss Gay America Femme is about celebrating women in all of their forms.
Mm. Love that. Love that. Love that. Good answer. Scribble cookies. um, so we talked about community, you plus this title. What are you bringing to the title that is your point of legacy in the history of Gay America Esquire?
One thing I want my legacy to be is, I think I've always been I've never walked away from something after I've completed it. I've
You don't
always
say.
I my legacy is what I hope my legacy to be is a legacy of someone who really brought together and prepared some really awesome contestants for this contest that show up extremely prepared and on their P's and Q's and know exactly what's going on. And they're not really caught off guard by anything. And also being a part of this system in the future to continue to work alongside with the board that we established and the contestants that are moving forward. With every title I've had so far, I've always had the distinct honor. It is an honor when contestants who are deciding they want to compete for this, they reach out to me and they want to know get my feedback, and they want to know what I think about things, what I think about their packages, what I think about how they are choosing to go out and present themselves to the community. And so my legacy, because I'm always somebody who typically helps out in the back, is continuing just to be that person who helps lead from behind.
That's always kind of been like I guess I've always kind of been similar in that sense. Like I'm always I have a lot of contestants for like a lot of the US of A guys will send me messages while they're working on stuff. They're like, hey, I need a pair of eyes on this, or hey, you're kind of a more out of the box king when it comes to like pageantry. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? So like I get that, but like I think it like I like being that guy. Like
Mhm.
I'm like, if I can help you either sort of, get to that point and be able to sort of achieve that pageantry dream, or if I can help you be one of the people that kind of helps sort of change the face of pageantry from this box to like blowing that shit open, I am more than willing to help you do that. Like that's
I would
I
say
like that sort of thing.
I agree with all of that. Because I definitely don't have the list that you all have, but I definitely have helped people create their own list.
Mhm.
And so I feel like my crown in that sense is that I've helped people get to where they want to go, and that's fine for me because
Yeah.
I don't have I do not have the wherewithal to do. Cheers to you all for being national title holders, and cheers to
There
you
was that one
for
time when you competed, remember? And then there was
yeah, that
the
was the
thing that
taste. That
happened,
was a taste,
and
and
then
she had had
the
enough.
thing
She
the
had
thing that
had
happened at the I mean, the
yeah,
prelim was
mhm.
fascinating.
She had had enough. She had had enough, yeah, mhm.
We were so
But so,
close.
what is next for you? Because I know that you just said that you are just now picking up the pieces and
Yeah.
starting the journey. So,
And you have
what's
like a
next?
3-year reign, so I mean,
Those seem to be going around here lately. But for next for me, I actually leave on Friday. I'm going to be going to Oxford, Mississippi, performing with um, Ivy and Naomi and a bunch of other amazing entertainers that live in that area or around that area. Um, for their Pride Festival weekend this weekend, and so there's
oh
a
fun.
drag show that I'm going to be a part of. But it's the first time that all three of us, as the reigning title holders together for Gay America, are all going to be together on one stage. So I'm super excited for that, because it's like a little precursor for Miss Gay Arizona America, which is coming up in a little over 3 weeks now, because that'll be the second time that all three of us all together are all together and doing that. But it'll be nice to have that time not at a pageant, for us to have
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
time together, and that be our first time for all of us. I mean, Naomi and I see each other all the time, so it's not as difficult, but this will be my first time seeing Ivy in person since she won.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Um, and it's pretty awesome that Arizona brought home 2 crowns at the same
Mhm.
time.
Yes. Yeah, it
I
is.
have not done research, but has that been done before?
Well, no, this is not. So the only other Miss Gay America that we have from Arizona is Michaela K. And
Mhm.
however, I am the third from a male title holder from Arizona for the America system. So we had TJ McKay back in the 90s, then Geo, and then me.
Oh, so there was a good, what, like 30-year gap in there
Mhm.
before. I
Mhm.
mean,
But we've had through Arizona, some like folks reminded me through Arizona, we've also had a couple other title holders who have won as either an alternate or the winner of Miss Gay Western States. So all in all, we have like 7 title holders, nationals for the America system. But we've Arizona has had lots of national titles.
Mhm.
You, Freddie, you and Dustin for US of A, MI and MI Classic. Eddie has been MI. Brandon has been MI Classic. We've had 2
Romeo won.
newcomers. I know we've had at least 2. So we had Kira
mm-hmm,
and Vanity that have
mm-hmm,
won newcomer. Um, Eva as Miss Renaissance. Geo has
You
another
don't have to
title
name
for
them all,
assist.
'cause
I'm just
there's
like
no
kind
way you can remember.
we
I'm
have
a
a
nerd when
lot.
it
It's
comes to that. I'm a nerd when it comes to that stuff. So
Yeah.
we need to get somebody from EOI. We need to get somebody from Continental, and we need to get someone from AAG.
technically Romeo was EOY King
Oh yes, that's right. You're
Mhm.
correct. That is correct. That is correct.
before it went to shit, but yes, that was.
Yeah. So
It's still there.
we do have someone from EOI. So we've hit a lot of the major systems we've had national
hmm
entertainers come from.
And we compete well. That's all I can say.
Arizona, I would say on the West Coast, probably has the largest pageant presence on the West Coast. We
I think
have
that sounds about right.
because there's definitely some amazing entertainers and contestants who come out of California, and we're now starting to see a lot of really good contestants come out of the Pacific Northwest, but kind of like that like longevity Arizona's where
Mhm.
we've really had a lot of really great entertainers come.
And I think pageantry in like the Pacific Northwest is still relatively new. Like they've
Mhm.
had to travel elsewhere to like get prelims and
Right.
to qualify for stuff. So the fact that there's now more opportunities like in the Pacific Northwest in that area is great because it shows that there's more interest. So
Yeah, and I mean,
So
yeah.
we America even had America, and I think of one other system even had prelims this past year in Alaska.
oh, yeah,
hmm
that's right.
So did
Mhm.
US
Mhm.
of A.
Yeah. Yes, that's what it was, US of A. So we're getting some folks even from Alaska. I know I've talked to the promoter up there. Casey and I have talked to the promoter, not necessarily this year for Esquire, but I hope to go up and visit and really kind of generate some interest to get some Alaska boys down here as well.
That
Um,
would be awesome.
do reach out to you, if they want to have a prelim?
Absolutely. They can reach out to me. They can reach out to Casey through his Facebook account. My email address is gayamericaesquire2025@gmail.com. The national office is gayamericaesquirenational@gmail.com. So there's Casey and I are going to be your connectors if you would like more information or any one of our board members as well, which we're going to be announcing our board here very soon.
And what if I wanna compete?
If you want to
Tell me.
compete, then you're
We just talked about that.
Do
gonna have
it.
No.
Do it. Do it.
Um, if
Do it.
if you're interested in competing, then again, reach out to myself. I have the list of all of our prelims out with the promoters' names attached, so you can reach out directly to the promoters. Our very first prelim is going to be on June 1st, Gay Southern America Esquire, and also will be happening alongside Miss Gay Southern America. And that will be on June 1st. And Richie and Robbie
Oh,
are
that's gonna be great.
amazing, amazing promoters and we're super excited. But you can get more information about that at gaysouthernamerica.com.
And where can folks find you, like, on the socials to be able to, stalk you, track you,
Yeah, everything is under Kristofer Inez Oynx. The biggest thing is remembering it's with a K and an F, not a C and a PH. But if you can remember that, usually. But I did look it up one day, and if you type in Kristofer traditionally with Inez Oynx, it'll still pull me up on almost all social media platforms.
Huh.
That is hilarious. I have one last question,
Mhm.
and it's only because I've known you for so long.
Yes.
Um,
We go back. Forbidden days.
Ooh, forbidden. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
it was a time to be had.
It was.
What would you so right now, what would you
Mhm.
tell yourself then about, I mean, because I imagine all the time when people come up to me and say, like, you're doing so well, or whatever they say to me, I think, you know what? I'm really proud of that time where I was,
Mhm.
and I would tell that person such. What would you tell that person?
If we're going back, I want to say if we're going back that far, the thing I would tell that Kristofer, before Kristofer even existed, I would tell that person, that individual, don't limit yourself. It took me a very long time to get to a point to even step out onto a stage in this format, in this way. And a lot of it was apprehension and fear. And I outgrew a lot of people who were very close to me at that point in time. And that was a part of the process. Reason, season, lifetime are all friendships that are valuable.
Say
All
that
3,
again.
all of those friendships are valuable. Even some of the friends that truly betrayed me and put me in a really bad place mentally, there was a reason they were a part of my life. One was someone who literally, like, my mom kicked me out, and I'd known this person for 2 weeks, and they immediately were like, "You can come live with me." She found out I was gay, and she's like, "You got to go." And we had known each other for 2 weeks. He allowed me to move into
Oh.
he had an extra room in his apartment, allowed me to move in with him, and that got me on my feet for that period of time and allowed me to move forward. And that friendship had an expiration date, and but if I never had that friendship, I probably would have been in a whole lot different of a situation, a whole lot. My
Mm.
life would have looked probably a less fulfilled if I had not met that person when I did. So I would say don't continue to dream big, but don't let them always remain dreams.
I always say, 'cause, you talk about, had you not had that friendship, then, things would have turned out very differently or whatever. Um, I'm one of those people that I believe the universe has a general sort of blueprint
Mhm.
for, where you kind of are meant to sort of end up, and sort of not specifics necessarily, but generally, this is kind of the direction your life should go. And I always say that, like, I trust I trust the universe's intentions, but not always its methods. I'm like, seriously, there couldn't have been an easier way for me to learn this. Like,
But
you
would you have
seriously,
listened to
like,
the
Across the
but would
street.
you have listened to the lesson?
okay, but still,
Mm.
like,
Would you have
god
listened to the
damn.
lesson? Would you have
Ugh.
listened to the lesson?
Like, sometimes it's like, oh my god, like, fuck me. Like, this is how you, okay, great. God, it
Mhm.
better be a really fucking good lesson to come out of this, because Jesus fucking Christ. Like,
Mm. Mhm. And sometimes it's not about the lessons that you learn, it's about the lessons that you teach.
Mm,
Yes. Why did I'd be
exactly.
like, "Why did I have to be present for that?" I didn't need
Right.
to
It's like,
I did not need to be
Mm.
karma's hand in that.
no, it's like,
Mm-mm.
gee, thanks so much for that. That's great. Thank
Mhm.
you.
It's
So
filler for my book.
follow your heart,
Um,
follow your dreams, follow Kristofer.
so you mentioned heading out to Oklahoma. What else? Other gigs do you have coming up that folks can find you either in town or out of
Mhm.
town, wherever?
So upcoming, one that I'm really excited for is actually June. For Juneteenth, I'm going to be in Columbus, Ohio for the show
Oh,
Melanated,
wow.
hosted by Robin the Culture. So I'm super excited. I'm originally from Ohio, although Columbus is not where I'm from. I'm originally from Toledo, but it'll be one of my first really big times performing in
Nice.
Ohio. I got a chance to go out there and perform at one of the bars a couple years ago, but this will be like my first time, like, I was pre-planned. I wasn't just showing up and got thrown in the show.
Robin
Oh,
and
that's a big
Robin is
deal.
great. I
Yeah.
met them not last year before in Austin.
Yeah, I met
So yeah,
them 3 years ago at Austin Drag Fest. I don't know if they remember me from that, but they had earlier in the year, they were, like, saying that they were putting together their schedule, and I just remember, like, right after it was a few months after I had won initially, and they're like, "I'm putting together my schedule for Melanated," and I was like, "I know I don't live there. I would love to come out. Ohio's my home state, and just you tell me." She's like, "Pick which month you think would be good for you." I was like, "You tell me where you think I will fit in, and I will be there."
right. And I'm like,
Mm.
please just I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, no, she's been great.
What else you got going on?
So it's prelims. So I'm getting ready for. I will be performing at Miss Gay Arizona, Miss Gay Western States, Gay Arizona Esquire, because we will be having Gay
Oh,
Arizona America Esquire. That will be April 24th. So the day after Miss Gay Western States and Miss Gay Arizona Femme. The next day will be Arizona Esquire. So we have that. I've got prelims planned right now that have been announced for Fancy, which is going to be held. Ooh, why did I just blank on the city that one is in? I was like, I've got it right here. But Fancy, we've got that is going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina, Ohio, America, which will be in Columbus, Arizona, DC, in Washington, DC during World Pride, as well as Southern America.
All sorts of stuff.
is
Excellent.
World Pride the one thing that the Kennedy Center dropped out of?
Yeah, something like that. So they had things planned that were going to be happening at the Kennedy Center, and they're now looking for different venues because that the World Pride celebration is like a couple weeks long. It's not
Right.
just a one day. So Capital City Pride in DC, this has been something that's been planned for years for the 50th anniversary of World Pride and Capital City Pride, all that to happen in DC this year. And I've been
Wow, what a
asked if I'm
historical moment.
fearful about being in Washington, DC, celebrating a Pride event during a Pride festival. And, I think about the fact that, like, my family's from the South. We've always been in places where it's not been safe. In 1983, when Gay America Esquire, when it got its first kind of like that beginnings, it wasn't safe to be a gay man. Their sodomy laws were still on the books. And here we were having this contest celebrating who we are. And this administration isn't going to make me fearful. It's an unfortunate fact that, like, I say this with understanding that all fears are going to be different for everyone. But as a Black person living in America,
Mm.
there are things that make me fearful for the future, absolutely, and the path we're going on. But today, as a things that I've experienced as a Black person, this is very much so what I've always known this country to be.
Yeah.
And so it is, I see a future where it's like, absolutely, there may be a time where I take pause, but that time isn't today. And I'm not going to back down, and I'm not going to let fear um, run the show.
Right. Yes, absolutely. And make sure you document it because everything
Oh,
that we've
yes.
documented seems to be disappearing.
Yes.
There is
Yes.
that. Yes.
Back it up.
That
Back
is
it up on
solid
USBs.
truth fact.
Yeah.
We
Right.
all need to be like taking pictures when we go places, and
Mhm.
because though the administration says I'm not racist,
Right.
they
Right.
clearly
I
Right.
mean,
have started to
and
whitewash.
I think that there's lots of people who agree with my mindset of that. There's not going to, like, I'm not going to let fear this. We just had Rainbows Festival a couple weeks ago, and
Mhm.
I haven't seen a Saturday that crazy and that packed. It almost felt like that year after COVID when we came back our first Pride
Mm,
Festival in November that year. It felt like that again. Like people are revitalized. These situations when people try and take who we are for granted, or they feel like we're an easy community to target and push over. And it's like, no,
Mhm.
we're not. We're here. And I just hope that we all as a community can let the pettiness and the things that truly don't matter go by the wayside. And you may not have to love every person who's right alongside you, but can you figure out that the person beside you is not no more your enemy than the person who's actively trying to erase you.
right.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see.
Mhm.
Speaking of gigs, what have we got coming up?
You're in
Let's see,
Tucson.
I am. So this Friday, I am driving my ass to Tucson for Entice Burlesque, which I'm
Cute.
super excited about. It is going to be a really, really good show. The cast is amazing. The headliner, I'm super excited about. Um,
Is this your first time
so
hosting in Tucson?
it is my first time hosting in Tucson. It's not my first time
Mhm.
performing in Tucson, but it is my first time hosting a burlesque gig in Tucson. So I'm excited. Um, and it's produced by Taryn Garders, who's one of my favorite burlesquers in Arizona. Like she's fucking phenomenal. And I think there are still like a handful of general admission tickets left. So make sure that you wander over to Entice Burlesque on Facebook, follow the link, and get your tickets because it's going to be a really good show. What else have we got going on? Oh, tickets are on sale now for Drag Bingo and Cats at Phoenix Cat Cafe. That is on May 16th. That'll be fun. We sell out. Don't ask us like the day of.
I'm just you know how, like, people keep posting, like, screenshots of, like, things that offend them? I'm gonna start posting screenshots of when people send me messages of, like, "Hey, are there any seats available?" And
No,
then
no, there's
I'll be
not.
like, "No, this is when you should plan ahead because
Right.
we say this every time for everything, and then people still send us messages
Oh,
or
I didn't
show up
realize it
at
was gonna
the
sell out. We
venue."
told you it was
Right.
gonna sell out.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
As soon as you
Or
think
they're
about
mad
it.
when the event gets canceled because
Right.
no one was
Right.
it's like, I was planning on being there. I was like, well, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
Plans don't pay my bills.
Yeah, right.
Right. That's right up there with thoughts and prayers.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Anyhow. And then on the 24th, we have the Drag Story Hour Arizona annual fundraiser. And
Yes.
if you, I don't know how this works. Oh, press the buttons. Um, if you use the code live 2025 you can get some money taken off. You
Oh,
can save
You
some
save
cash.
20, I think it's 20%. 20% off your
That's
ticket
in
if you
this
use the
economy,
code.
that's enough. Mhm.
Right? Seriously. We're also still accepting donations for raffle prizes, baskets, services, whatever you got. We will take it. It will be tax deductible because we are a 501c3. When I say we, not we, but Drag
Oh,
Story Hour
I was like,
Arizona.
"Oh, wow, when
Um,
did we get that
you're like,
status?"
that's new.
I know we have I know we already have quite a few awesome things
We
for
got some stuff
raffles.
from
We'll start doing
Eric.
some stuff so soon.
Mhm.
So we
Let
do
me
have
see if
some
I
fun
can get
stuff.
you some tickets for the festival to raffle off.
Ooh, that would be
Ooh,
awesome.
Let me see if I can
That
get you
would be
some
super, super
tickets.
cool.
Text me
That
let me
would
after
be
put my
this and
awesome.
money in that. Let
message
me
me
put
tomorrow to remind me.
Okay.
We can do that.
Yeah.
We could do that. That would be awesome.
Uh,
So yeah, definitely do that.
I just remembered I have 2 gigs that I forgot to plug just
ooh,
because they're super cool.
go ahead.
One
Go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead.
So May 22nd, I will be at Cobalt with Cirque, where we will be hosting a newest winner of RuPaul's Drag Race, Anya Nerve, will be joining us on May
Mm.
22nd. So super excited. She's another Ohio girl. She's from Columbus as well. So super excited for that.
The
And
love from
oh,
Ohio for her has been so big. That is so
And it's
amazing.
been since like the cast was announced. She has gotten nothing
so
but love
big.
from all. So it's great. It's been wonderful to
Mhm.
watch. And on May 11th for Mother's Day, 11 days prior, so I will be at Arizona Broadway Theater for a Mother's Day drag brunch, hosted by one of my mothers, Savannah Stevens, along with Benediction and her daughter, Pyrediction.
Interesting. A lot of
Yeah,
Ticks for both of those things are in my link tree.
if you follow Kristofer.
Yes.
And then on the 29th, I have drag bingo at Drink Me Tea Room. And then June 5th, I will be at Warehouse 215 with the meeting professionals of I don't know what the I stands for, but it's the Arizona chapter. And we'll be there. And then the thing that people get the most excited about is Fan Fusion, and Freddy is producing that whole gig for the drag show.
on the Friday, so June 6th, it's 8 p.m. So the time is different. For
Oh,
people that go to Fan Fusion, the time is different. It's not starting at 7, it's now starting at 8. And it is free with a con pass, 18 and over. And then on the Saturday and the Sunday, Drag Story Hour Arizona will be doing story hours at Fan Fusion. I'm not sure what time though. I think it's like
I don't remember
sometime
either, and I
between
signed up
noon
for
and
one of them.
1, but I don't remember. It's one of the. It's like it's somewhere in the afternoon-ish. But keep an eye out because we will be putting that out there as well. That's always super fun. The Saturday one is, I think it's story time for younglings. So think like sci-fi stories. And then the one on Sunday is more like fantasy fairy tale thing.
That might have been the one I signed up for.
So I will be at both of them. Felicia will be at one of them. I don't know. But they're always fun. They're good time. They're a good time. So make sure that if you are at Fan Fusion, regardless of whether you have littles or not, come out and support the things because we need the support.
And the other thing that we keep getting asked about is when is sex trivia. The next one is on September 4th.
I know it seems like it's a long ways away. It's one of those things that just happened with the dates because it's quarterly and it's just what happened. We're busy. I don't know what to tell you.
So, yeah. Thank you, Kristofer, for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
A long conversation. We went a little over, but thank you for being here and spending time with us and being a part of the conversation. And thank you all for joining us either live or on the replay. If you're listening on the podcast, you did not hear incorrectly. I was not here for like the first 15 minutes. The internet likes to fuck with me. Anyway, but thank you for listening on the podcast, and share the podcast with anybody that you feel is your enemy because they need to hear us too. We will see you next week for your Wednesday night conversation. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.